Oh man, we live, baby. We live. We lit, baby. We lit. What's really good, family tree? Let me know if you guys are up in the building with me. Today, we're actually going to do a quick show on magic. Can you imagine magic, miracles, and everything that is above normality, the supernatural, super yet natural. So yeah, that's what we're going to be discussing today. Hopefully we're going to have the medicine man. The medicine man is going to be up in the building with us, dropping some heat. He's got some powerful information he wants to actually share with you guys. So if you guys are actually here with me right now, I need you guys to first and foremost hit us up with the like button, drop a little comment down below, let us know that you're here. And of course, please just let me know if everything is actually in tune and synced up well, the visuals, the audio, all that good stuff there. Now, I actually wanted to do something very similar to this, actually. It's very, very similar to this particular thing. I was having a discussion with my good brother, Gabs, the medicine man, and we was discussing, certain materials that I've got in my possession. So let me just drop you a couple of them, actually. So, for example, we've got this book here by, I think his name is Robert Connor. Morton Smith. There's another book, actually, I've got by Robert Connor. But yeah, Robert Smith, yeah, and he writes a very amazing book called Jesus the Magician. Right there, Jesus the Magician. Of course, it's forwarded by Bart D. Ehrman. Everybody knows about the famous biblical scholar, textual critic, and so forth. Bart D. Ehrman. If you don't know and you're Christian, you need to get to know. So he's very powerful. He writes the forward in there to let you know. He puts his stamp of approval on there, and it's very, very interesting. That book alone is very interesting. I'll give you a few things that it actually goes into, actually, and I think most biblical scholars would agree with this, that Jesus was an apocalyptic preacher slash prophet. Okay, apocalyptic slash preacher slash prophet slash teacher. That's what he was doing. That's his career. When he was going around, this is what he was doing. But what actually made him famous itself was him being what is quote unquote a miracle worker and what is quote unquote a magician. Okay, I know my Christians may not like the term magician, but to the outside world, which is actually argued in this book, they viewed him, quite clearly, what you're doing is magic, okay? One man's magic is another man's miracle. One man's miracle is another man's magic, depending upon the point of view. And we can touch on that in a little while, but it's a very interesting work itself. I'm still waiting for Brother Gabs to just jump in, but it's a very interesting work because what it does, it says, you know what? Fine, we're good to hear about Jesus from a Christian propaganda narrative and material, i.e. the New Testament, the Gospels, and the letters, and so forth. That is one side of the story. But if we want to get a full, complete picture, we need to look at all sides or both sides of the stories. For example, let me say this, let's talk about Donald Trump. Okay? For those of who is part of his party, right? Those part of his political party and supports his presidency, will write a history and stories about him in a very, beautiful, positive, glowing light. And if we just took it at face value, we'll have one narrative of him. And I'm sure a lot of us, just generally speaking, outsiders who may not know him personally, have a different vantage point of him. And there's, of course, his oppositions. They'll have a different perspective of him. So in order for us to get a full picture of who Donald Trump actually is, it's not simply by going to his party members who will give you a glowing report about him and reference about him. Let's go to all of the parties and find out who was Donald Trump. Okay? Who was Donald Trump? And it's the same thing that he did with Jesus Christ. Okay, let's see, what does the outside world think about Jesus? Let's go to the outside world. Let's go to what the Greeks thought about Jesus. What did the Jews think about Jesus? What did the pagans think and write about Jesus? What can we find from the internal evidence of the Gospels themselves? What did the people who did oppose Jesus inside the Gospels think about him as well? So there's all of this, colorful array, a spectrum of positions and opinions of Jesus, and we can find certain things that through and through line up, no matter who you are, they have the same view of Jesus, we can say that's safe to say that Jesus most probably was kind of like that, right? Was kind of like that. So yeah, very interesting work. Let me just quickly just double check, because I'm here trying to buy the time real quickly. Let me see what Gabs is up to, and let's get into this, right? So how is everybody doing? Man like Ultra Funky's up in the building with me. He says he allegedly turned water into wine. That's devil magic. Drops in the super chat. So yes, shout out to you guys for always dropping down the super chats. Keep supporting Titans TV. We appreciate you, baby. We appreciate you. Yeah, for real. And I personally think if we, again, I don't want to be, blasphemous or nothing like that, but if we was to look at the things that, the miracles or the wonderments that Jesus actually did and put it within inside a modern context or even inside an African context, right? I'm pretty sure most people will be like, that is straight juju, that is magic, right? Turn it, as my brother Ultra quite clearly says, anybody that turns one element into another element, would we not call that magic today? And when I use the word magic, I'm not talking about illusionary magic. I'm talking about, another form, the pretty real form of magic. All right. If someone was able to curse a particular object and it withered up, I think most people would be like, that's magic. If someone was able to change form or shapeshift, I think most people say, yo, that's magic. Being able to walk across water, a form of levitation as such. I think most people say, yeah, clearly we can see that's magic. If we can speak about somebody, doing exorcism, that's clearly magic. Someone who is doing, healing with spittle, taking saliva and rubbing it against people's eyes and ears and healing them. Clearly, that is what we would say juju, magic, whatever the case is, right? But for some strange reason, for Jesus, we give him a pass and say, no, it's not. Gabs, what are you saying, G? We're waiting on you. Okay. Gabs, let me know if you're there. Yeah. So yeah. So magic. So we're going to be discussing magic and miracles and other people within inside of the biblical context that performed certain things that would be classified as magic today. All right, we'll go into that. I know Gab's got a lot of things on there. And if you guys would like to join us, again, I'm not trying to spend long on here. We're just going to be here for real quick. If you would like to join us, please hit the link down below. It's inside of the comment section. You should be able to see it. That'll be your one track to get straight in and involved with the conversation. Yeah, buddy. So yeah, let me actually introduce you to another book. This is another great book I particularly like as well. It's called Magic in Christianity, From Jesus to Gnostics. Yeah. Oh, sorry, you can't even see it. There you go. Real good books. This is Callum's reading list, Real good books. This one's by Robert Connor itself.
To read this message, press 1 if you want to.
Wow, that was a voicemail left to Gabs, can you imagine? Yeah, so real good books. And if you actually would like to learn more about the magical tradition within inside of Christianity, there's another book as well, which is just really, really good. I need to remember it. And it has a compilation of all of the texts pertaining to magic. When I say magic, again, magic, as they would say, one author puts it like this: religion is the cult or the practices of the masses, like everybody does it, like what you do publicly. And then magic is what you do privately. So, for example, if you're praying privately, they would classify that in ancient times as magic, because what you're doing is appealing to supernatural forces, i.e. God, angels, spirits, beings, whatever the case is, to give you a particular result. So it's all magic, to be honest with you. But what we will do, depending on who you are, you won't classify as magic, because magic sounds a bit too taboo. But clearly, if you're asking for a supernatural force or supernatural being or spirit being to do your bidding, and it does your bidding, what is that but magic? So yeah, very interesting, very, very, very interesting, study and appraisal of the gospel texts and Christian traditions. And you'll see some very remarkable things, the type of things that Christians in Egypt were praying for, the practices, the healing methodologies, the exorcisms, the amulets. A lot of these things is very peculiar. It wouldn't be what we would expect Christianity of today to be practicing, right? It's not what we expect, but this is what the very ancient Christians were getting up to. And I can't wait. I can't wait for one of these days where we can have these real intelligent academic discussions. I would really love to actually introduce these types of conversations to Speaker's Corner. But when I go Speaker's Corner and I do a little perusal and a survey of what is going on there, I realize that Speaker's Corner is a battleground for beliefs and of beliefs. And what that means is, let me put it like this. First of all, let me just define my words, belief. Belief is just simply the acknowledgement of ignorance. If you believe something, you acknowledge the fact you do not know something. And if you do not know something, you're in ignorance, or you're ignorant of something, but you simply accept it to be so because that is your belief. So at Speaker's Corner, there is nothing there that screams academia. There's nothing there that screams, I want to learn and to know. All it screams is, I am right, you are wrong, and I'm right based upon my beliefs. And someone like me would listen to that and be like, I am an ignorant fellow. I am an ignorant fellow who's trying to push my ignorance onto you and for you to accept. And it's like, you can't even have intelligent discussions where you could bring out sources and what academia is actually saying at present about these things. Anyways, let's see. What's really good, family? What's really good? The Orthodox Moor is up in the building, and it says here, what are you saying? Jesus was a student of the two angels of Babylon? No, I wouldn't stretch that far. I would say exactly what the Jews, the pagans, and the Roman Greeks, Greco-Romans were saying. They basically said this: Jesus was a person who was learnt in the sacred sciences or magic of the Egyptians. That's it. And the book that I've just shown up actually goes further. And Medicine Man, you're there, yeah? I'm just going to answer this question quickly. And it shows the parallels between, I don't know if you guys have the capacity to do this, but you should be able to. I'm sure you can have a PDF copy of this. If you Google Greek magical papyri, okay, Greek magical papyri, and on there it will show you it's a book, it's a compendium of all of the magic that was taking place, or the written forms of formulas that was going on during the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th century. And it will show you that most of the things that Jesus was doing is paralleled inside of the gospel, inside of the Greek magical papyri. So it's very interesting, was Jesus actually learned in the Egyptians' knowledge? Was he learned in the Egyptian sacred science? This was the charge that was placed against him amongst the Jews of his contemporary times, against from the Greeks. If you go into Celsus and Origen contra Celsus, Origen speaks or quotes what Celsus was saying, Greco-Roman, talking about the same thing, that Jesus was learned in the Egyptian sacred sciences and magic and brought it back into Judea, and he was kind of like praised as a god because of his marvelousness. So I would say no, he wasn't learned in the magic of the angels of Babylon. He was simply taught according. No, I'm not even going to say it, even though I agree with it. I'm going to say exactly what they say. The Jews, the Greeks, the pagans all acknowledge, and even the early Christians, mind you. Ooh, that's another thing. Even the early Christians acknowledge that Jesus was learned in the sacred sciences of the Egyptians, and that's what he was practicing, and that's what he was teaching. So yeah, that's the answer to that question. But Gabs, talk to me, King. Talk to me.
Yes, peace.
We're gonna get real controversial, baby. We're gonna get real controversial. Yeah.
Trust me. Nah, sorry, bro. I was trying to chime in and out of the stream yard, but I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I just caught up a bit. You've been breaking down a bit of the magic and stuff, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to quickly, before you continue, I just want to say, family, if you guys would like to join us, right, please just, the link has been shared down below. And of course, if you want something to say and you want it to be read out and you want it to be highlighted. So for example, we just read out a comment by Orthodox More. Let's see if I can actually do it, because I know it gives me the ability to do it. Let me just, there you go. So for example, that was the question that Orthodox More, wrote, and I read out and I answered it. If you would like for your own comments or questions to be shown or messages to be showed, please just tag Titans TV or drop us a super chat and we will do exactly what I just did and show it on screen. All right. Oh, Gabs is, come on, Gabs, stop jumping in and out, baby. What are you talking about? Talk to me, King.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. What was I gonna say? On the last point that you brought up, actually, the bit about Jesus, you're asking the question if Jesus, you said scholars and that have been saying that Jesus might have been learned in magic and stuff. It's actually quite interesting, because obviously we know from the Bible, especially when we look at Acts, we probably brought this up a few times. We know that Moses was raised and learned in all the wisdoms of the Egyptian. Now, why this is a big part that Acts has mentioned this. The reason why it's a big thing to me is because, these are questions I've always asked, like exactly what things did Moses learn? That the Bible had to know that he was learned in all the wisdoms, not some of the wisdoms, not a core of the wisdom, not even a smidget of the wisdom, all the wisdoms, all of the wisdoms of the Egyptians, and it made him mighty in words and in deeds. Now, the reason why I think this is that's a big question. I put a big question on my head, is because when we go into the story of Moses, we have the scene where Aaron and Moses are faced with the Pharaoh's wise men / magicians, and I don't know. Do you know what? I'd actually want to read from that verse. Do you know what part of the Bible that's in?
Say it again. Repeat again.
The bit in the Bible where Moses, what verse is it? What chapter and verse is it in the Bible where Moses is faced with the magicians, Pharaoh?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's get that up. Let's have a read.
Let's see. Rod. Let me get the rod up.
Yeah. I've just got another bit up. Let me just leave this. This is another one.
So it's in Exodus. Take that wrong. Yeah. So Exodus 7:9, I believe. Let me see if I can do this. If I can share screen. Share screen. I want to share my tab. Exodus. Here we go. Let me know if you can see that on the screen. Can you see that? Hopefully you lot can see it. So I'll just read it out, and then I'll wait for Gabs to make his point. When Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, show a miracle for you, then thou shalt say unto Aaron, take thy rod and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent. And Moses and Aaron went in unto Pharaoh, and they did so, as the Lord had commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent, slithering away. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men, and the sorcerers. Now the magicians of Egypt, they also did in like manner with their enchantments. For they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents, but Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods. And he hardened Pharaoh's heart, that he hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had said. So yeah, there you go. So over here we see that Moses and Aaron were able. Moses at first, even though it's not in here, was able to cast down his rod and turn into a serpent, and he taught that same parlor trick. No, I'm joking. He taught that same miracle onto Aaron, and Aaron and Moses went on to Pharaoh, and Aaron cast down his rod, and Pharaoh was like, "Yo, hey yo, hey yo, Babatunde, hey yo, Jerome and them, hey yo, Ayo, I beg you, man, show Moses this thing here." And then Babatunde and Ayo and Jerome said, "Yo, fam, let me show you this thing here." And all their rods turned into snakes. Wow. So even the magicians can do exactly what Moses could do. Wow. All the wise men and magicians. Goodness gracious. Yeah.
Yeah, trust me. Now, if you go down, stay on that. Go to Exodus 8 and 7. We'll start from 8 and 6.
8 and 6. All right.
Yeah. 86.
Sugar man, like Babatunde and Ayo, and Jerome. Don't sleep on them man there, Exodus 8. Doom. Okay, and Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. And the magicians did so with their enchantments and brought up frogs upon the land of Egypt. What? I'm showing me some next things here. Jesus Christi. Hey, the blood of Nebuchadnezzar. Wow. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, "Entreat the Lord that he may take away the frogs from the people, and I will let the people go out." What? And the magicians did so with their enchantments and brought up frogs upon the land of Egypt. Nah, that's mad, B.
Yeah.
Yo, you're showing me some next thing still. Okay.
Come on, bro.
Okay.
Come on.
You know when you read I've read the Bible back to front like several times. But I swear, sometimes you show me some stuff here that I don't even know. I don't even know I read that before, fam. Go on, okay.
Yeah. I'm telling you. So
okay.
The reason why I'm showing this here, and this is the thing. These are the two questions that used to be in my mind when I was young. I used to ask one. How is it? Okay. We know that obviously God gave Moses and Aaron, the ability to, do magic. Hold on a sec. Hold on. Let me just do it myself quickly. Hold on.
Why are you dealing with that? Yeah. Oh, sugar. What did I just do? Oh, sugar. How do I zoom back out? Give me a second, family. Hey. Oh no, that's why. Hey. I don't even know. I've just pressed a button. Yeah. That's just a mad thing on this thing. I'm trying to. I've zoomed in somehow. All right. Anyways, somebody puts a question here, or makes a statement here, and I think is very, 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 very good. There it is.
I'm back here.
And what they've put forward here, sugar, fam. How do you?
What happened?
Nah, on my screen here, it's proper zoomed in.
Oh.
And I'm trying to zoom back out again. But anyways, let me not even waste time. It says here, Times TV, the difference is that Moses and Aaron came from God and the other magicians didn't. And I know that's the key point I'm trying to make here,
There you go.
That's the key point. One man's miracle is another man's magic, and one man's magic is another man's miracle. It depends on what side of the fence you're sitting on. Because I'm sure, that the Egyptians, let's say, have their own God, if not the same God. I don't know if it's the same or different God. Let's not even go there. But because I do a miracle in the name of my God, and my God is the other from you, from where you're standing upon, therefore your miracle is now magic. You dig what I'm saying? And if you do a miracle, and you're doing it in the name of your God, but your God is foreign to me, your miracle now becomes magic. Your miracle becomes my magic. So it's very, very interesting here. The people are doing exactly the same thing, but one would be denigrated and one will be praised. But yet it's the same goddamn thing. All right, guys. So true.
Yeah, and yeah, to be fair, and I'm glad that question was actually going to go to my point, because I was going to say, I was actually going to elaborate on that point, because it was one of the questions that I had, obviously growing up, thinking to myself, okay, so if Moses and Aaron obviously were given the power by God, so let's so to speak, so it says, yeah, who like we said, who was it that the wise man and the Egyptian magicians, who and where were they getting their magic from? Like, where was it coming from? Like, is this stuff that they had learned? Yeah, is this the stuff? Was this part of the stuff that they had learned in Egypt? Was this part of their practices? Now, the reason why I say that, yeah, is because even if you think about it now, look, Moses was learning all the wisdoms of the Egyptians. Now, I used to think to myself that if Moses was learning all the wisdoms of the Egyptians, and we get to the same scene where the magicians were casting down their magic, obviously this was part of their knowledge, and this is the same type of knowledge that Moses would have grew up under. So he would have learned about all this stuff. So he wouldn't even been shocked. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think all the magic and all the stuff that was happening, the way that the Bible makes it seem like it was something new, like, okay, God said to Moses, throw down your rod and it will turn to serpent. I think Moses already knew. Moses probably knew exactly what. Listen, Moses would have known about the wise men, the magicians, all of that in Egypt, because look, he grew up in Pharaoh's house. Come on, you're trying to tell me you was there for 40 years and you didn't know that they had magic and stuff there? He couldn't have been shocked. Do you know what I mean? He might have been like, okay, well, you've done the same thing. Like what's the difference? Like, I know when we throw down our serpent, yeah, the magicians of Egypt are going to do the same thing. And you see both of them going at it. Like, look, they said they threw down their rod, turned to snakes. Moses threw down his rod, turned to snakes. Moses made frogs appear. The magicians made frogs appear. So nothing was new under the sun. Yeah, I mean, so boy, I don't know, man. I don't know. This clearly shows me that there was magic going on, and it's to my opinion that I think Moses, part of his education and stuff that he had in Egypt, magic 110% been a part of that.
Of course,
110%.
Of course. You just have to look at the curriculum of an Egyptian initiate, and then you clearly know. You clearly know. Man like Takia watches up in the building. Jeez, man like Takia has been doing some major things. Yeah, if you haven't already checked out his channel, I bet go to his channel, subscribe, and then just binge watch. Yeah, remarkable. Shouts out to Black Eyes TV 7. How you mean, fam? I ain't seen you for a hot minute, G. All right, love. Buddha Bing's up in here as well. All right, let me see if I could just read out some of these comments, right? And again, I want to invite you guys in. There's a few people. Hold on. Oh no, all the people that was in before. Again, if you lot would like to join, if you'd like to join, here is the link. I'm sorry, it keeps going in and out. I'm trying to. I don't know, man. I've zoomed in so much on this thing. I don't even know why it's so zoomed in. But yeah, I'm trying to fix it. But if you like to come in, there it is. Please come in if possible. Let's see. Again, tag me Titans TV so I can read out your comments, or simply drop a super chat. That'll be the easiest way. Let's get the money in, baby. I thought Titans TV was atheistic. What's with all this God tosh? No, we're not atheistic. Actually, no, we are atheistic. I'm not atheistic like that, but atheistic in the point of being critical thinkers. That's like an atheist. How can I put it? Atheists have taken on that mantle of being very critical thinkers. So that's what we are here for. We're here for education. We're here to be controversial. We're here to be critical thinkers and open up your minds, and all of that good stuff. And of course, we love dealing with religion, philosophy, history, and social issues as well. So come on in. We're gonna have so much for you. Man like Middlesex Oma's up in the building. Salute. Jeez. All right, Melanated Goddess is here. Why So Religious up in the building. Okay, so again, if you have posted a question or a comment, please repost it, tag Titans TV, and I'll do my very best to get it read out. All right, do that immediately whilst I'm still here and I'm still reading these things. And again, if you'd like to join us, the link has been shared down below for StreamYard, and I will do my very best. There we go. Sir Drop has just come in. Let's see. Yep, you're in the stream. Perfect. Okay, so Sir Drop, I think he's got something to say. Talk to me, King.
All right, I'm looking at it. How you guys feeling? First off, how you guys doing today, man? Everybody high spirits up? I was thinking more or less when we're talking about Jesus and magic and miracles. What if it was simple as this? What if they say when he walked on water, right? Even though I don't believe none of this stuff, but when he walked on water, what if it was thin ice? Then he walked on water. What if I said, when he said everybody with 5 pieces of fish, what if I told you they just cut the fish up and fished with the fish and caught more fish until it was enough to feed everybody? So he taught them how to fish. But then since they didn't know that, Jesus came and had 5 pieces of fish, and instead of being selfish, he cut the fish up and said, yo, let's go fishing and feed the village. What if it's that simple? What if it's not all this hocus pocus? You see what I'm saying?
I'm with you. I'm with you indeed. I think I put it like this, yeah. I understand most of these miracles, not to be literal, okay? I pull from what Philo, I don't know if anybody is familiar with Philo. Philo was a Jew from Alexandria, and he gives a very nice breakdown of these things. And a lot of these sayings or these miracles that you see within inside of the Old Testament, he's speaking specifically Old Testament, not New Testament, right? And he breaks down like the splitting of the waters into twos and so forth as allegories. He doesn't actually believe that the Jews were actually enslaved in Egypt, but these are a lot of allegories that took place. So I don't think these things actually happen. A lot of these things, like feeding 5,000 people with 1 loaf of bread and 1 fish, I don't think these things are literal truths. But I know my Christian brothers and sisters are gonna just shout at me and be like, what the hell, Callum? Of course he did. Of course he did. Hold on real quickly. We have got here Up and Up TV. Says, welcome back, formerly known as Isaac, not Ishmael. Jeez, Mela Isaac, not Ishmael. Salute to you, King. He drops that big guala up in here. Love for that super chat. Revelations. Okay. Oh, let me just show yours first. Yeah. Salute. Revelations says here, if you make a blind man see, and if you can make a man come back to life, is that a miracle or magic? Again, it's both. Let me give you the definition of magic, actually. Let me give you the definition of magic so you can see. Share the screen. Boom, 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 boom. Chrome tab. And this is not Callum making it up. You know, I always have to say, this is not Callum making it up. Okay. So we're going to go to the second one because we're not talking about the illusionary one. We're talking about this one here. The art of producing a desired effect or result through the use of incantations or various other techniques that presumably assure human control of supernatural agencies or the forces of nature. Okay. So if Jesus uses a particular incantation such as Talitha Kum, for those of you guys who know, this is is supposedly an Aramaic word of power, or phrase of power. Okay, it's specifically in the Bible. It gives you the Aramaic words that Jesus used. So if anybody else wanted to use those words, you can use it. So it's an incantation. It says Talitha Kum, and they've translated it as to mean damsel or little girl, rise. Okay, and then this girl who was supposedly deceased or passed out or dead, came back to life and was reanimated and was able to walk around and do her normal stuffs. All right. So if that there is not an incantation, And if that there is not control of supernatural agencies or forces of nature to make a young girl stand up and walk, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. If Jesus is able to calm the winds and the storms and so forth, right? Utilizing, having control, human control, remember, human control of the forces of nature, I don't know what is, right? I don't know what is. Now, remember, miracle simply means like something that is astonishing, like it's a wonderment, like, wow, I just saw something that was completely amazing. It doesn't have any like connotations to this. So let's just quickly show you what the word miracle means. Okay. It says here, an effect or extraordinary event in the physical world that surpasses all known human or natural powers and is ascribed to a supernatural cause. Such an effect or an event manifesting or considering as a work of God, a wonder, a marvel, a wonderful or surpassing example of some quality. Okay. So if somebody is able to control the forces of nature, we will say, wow, that's miraculous. That's miraculous. And then somebody else could say, wow, that's magic, because he's a human that's controlling the forces of nature. It's the same thing. But what happens is there is connotations that are added onto these words. Okay? Connotations. Meaning, magic is now something that's seen as evil. But miracles is something that's now seen as good. But we're both doing exactly the same thing. But because I'm against you, I'm going to denigrate you. And because you did it and you're in favor of me, I'm going to glorify it. It's the same goddamn thing, baby. Same goddamn thing. Let me just stop sharing the screen. And yeah, so hopefully that answers your question. And of course, like you had other magicians as well. For example, Apollonius of Tyre. He was able to do exactly the same thing, able to bring people back to life, able to make a blind man see as well. And he's known as a magician. Even though it's like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, man. It's the same thing. But anyway, continue, family, continue. What are we saying?
Yeah. Yes, bro. I was actually going to go into, I'm going to read from 2 Kings. This is another, and I want to read this, and I want obviously the people to decide, and even you, brother, to chime in, and also the brother Dio. Yeah. So I'm going to read from 2 Kings. Yeah.
Hold on. You can't just read. You can't just read. You need it to be up on the screen. You know what they're going to say. I don't believe you, Gabs. You made that up.
Yeah.
So what we always have to do is provide the sources if you are truthful. Again, this is the difference. This is the difference between the normal speakers corner believer communities who are steeped in ignorance versus the academically minded, critical thinking individuals, the free thinkers who utilize evidence and sources to form an opinion or position. This is what we do. We utilize sources. If you ain't got your sources up, then you need to go back home and do your studies. All right? When we're speaking, just bring your sources, baby. Bring your sources. That's all we want to know. Source that, please.
But what if you is your source, though? Like, you can't find everything in the book. So if you critically thinking for real, you're gonna form your own opinion on what you read and what you watched and what you listened to and what you gathered in. So why name where you got it from? You see what I'm saying? It's you. It's your thoughts. But go ahead and read it. My fault. I didn't mean that.
You're right. And that's exactly what we do. As scholars, we can source our thoughts. Right? If you go into academia, you will see scholars.
For instance, I don't know.
Scholars will
my headphones going in and out. Was somebody talking?
Yeah, I'm talking. So scholars would cite their position, and others would scholars would put forward their position, and others would cite their opinion or their position. And it's stuff that you could just simply come about via your own interaction with your world around you. Is that simple? But yeah, let me just hold you tight there. Let me get Gabs to just quickly read out 2 Kings. Go ahead, Gabs.
Yeah. 2 Kings 2. Yeah, 2 Kings and 2, please.
It's there. Is that,
are you at 2?
Yeah.
It says, but the angel of the Lord. No.
Oh,
2 Kings 2.
2.
Yeah, 2. Yeah. You're on one.
This has changed. Why can't I just simply go to
The next is at the bottom there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
There you go. Yeah. What does it say? And it came to pass when. Yeah.
The Lord-
All right. Cool. So okay. So listen. And it came to pass when the Lord would take Elijah into heaven by a whirlwind. Yeah. Let's hold that. Remember, the Lord is going to take Elijah up to heaven by a whirlwind. Yeah. Now that Elijah went with Elisha from Gilgal, and Elijah said unto Elisha, tarry here, I pray thee, for the Lord hath sent me to Bethel. And Elisha said unto him, as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. So they went down to Bethel. And the sons of the prophets that were at Bethel came forth to Elisha, and said unto him, knowest thou that the Lord would take away thy master from thy head today? From thy head today? And he said, yeah, I know it. Hold ye your peace. Yeah. So these sons of the prophets, they knew about the prophecy of Elijah being taken up. That's I actually didn't realize that. That's kind of decent. I wonder who those sons were anyway. But anyway.
Because a quick breakdown. Basically, the sons of the prophet are so basically, see what most people don't understand, yeah. Like when we talk about prophets are in these, I don't want to throw no shade at nobody. Prophets are in these soul individuals that spring out of nowhere and nobody ain't heard of them. Prophets are people that are educated in a guild, okay, in a society, in an initiate society, all right, where they learn how to prophesize, all right, and that guild is called the Sons of the Prophets, or Sons of the Prophet or Sons of the Prophet. So it's usually these people that stay up in the mountains. You hear about them up in the mountains. They have like cymbals and musics and all these things here that they're doing to help them whip up themselves into frenzies to be able to prophesy. All right. And usually when you have a prophet, you don't just have one prophet. You usually have at least two prophets to coincide with each other. So if one prophet says one thing, a second prophet somewhere else will say, yep, that's true. Like we say the same thing. I say the same thing. You say the same thing. And then the two can actually confirm one another. So usually there is a whole guild of people that's now initiated to learn how to prophesy. That's what it means by sons of the prophets.
Mm-hmm. All right, there we go.
It's deep.
Let's
Still,
carry on.
It's deep.
Let me know that is deep still.
It's deep.
That is deep.
Gotcha.
Okay, so 4, and it says, and Elijah said unto him, Elisha, tarry here, I pray thee, the Lord hath sent me to Jericho. And he said, as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. So they came to Jericho. Oh, did I read that already? And the sons of the prophets that were at Jericho came to Elisha, said unto him, knowest thou? Okay, yeah, I read this. I read this.
Oh, no,
okay.
you didn't. No, you didn't. It's a repeat.
Yeah, it's just repeat. Yes, repeat. Sorry. Yeah. And the sons of the prophets that were at Jericho came to Elisha and said unto him, knowest thou the Lord will take away thy master from thy head today? And he answered, yeah, I know it. Hold ye your peace. Okay. And Elijah said unto him, tarry, I pray thee here, for the Lord hath sent me to Jordan. Yeah, the next place. And he said, yeah, as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And they too went on. And 50 men of the sons of the prophet went and stood to view afar off. And they too stood by Jordan. Now, this is where we get to the nitty-gritty. And Elijah took his mantle and wrapped it together and smote the waters, and they were divided hither and thither, so that they too went over on dry ground. Okay. Let's read that bit one more time. So this is 8. And Elijah took his mantle and wrapped it together and smote the waters, and they were divided hither and thither, so that they too went over on dry ground. Now, brother, there's a few things in this little passage here that, we need to deal with here, because one, first and foremost, I need to know, what is this mantle, that he took and wrapped together? Yeah, that's one. And whatever this mantle was, he smashed it. Well, he hit it on the water, and it split the water into two. Sounds kind of familiar. What does that sound similar to, bro?
That there sounds like Moses splitting the river, boy. The waters.
Splitting
Like
splitting
sex. It sounds like sex to me, but go ahead.
sound like what?
Sex. That's what it sounds, splitting the seas. But basically, Moses is your nose, and it split your seers. But that's just how I look at it. But continue on. Like Moses' noses, the seas, the two eyes, what's between it. It's a lot of mental things going on. They're not really meaning this stuff. Literally, like we split the ocean in half. But go ahead, continue reading. This is interesting.
Okay. Well, I didn't even hear what the brother said. What did he say, Kalam? Because he's kind of. What did he say? He sounded like.
Continue.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the mantle. So this is So now we know that obviously Elijah used something. Yeah. Elijah used something. So we'll continue reading now. And it came to pass when they were gone over that Elijah said unto Elisha, ask what I shall do for thee before I be taken away from thee. And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me. So here we have, Elisha knows he's going to be taken up. So he's asked Elisha, listen, bro, before I leave, let me know what you want me to do for you. What type of magic, anything you want me to leave you with before I go? This is your only chance, so let me know what you want. And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me. Yeah. And he said, thou hast asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if thou see me when I'm taken from thee, it shall be so unto thee. But if not, it shall not be so. So basically, Elijah's answer is like, okay, cool. Sugar, this is a hard trick. Like, it's something hard, You asked me to do that thing, but nevertheless, I'll still try it. But he said, if you see me, then then obviously it worked. But if you don't, then obviously it wasn't meant to be so. Cool. And it came, and it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. Now, I just want to say here, to me, this sounds like some UFO, because this would have been an what they call it? What's UFO? Unfamiliar flying object, unidentified flying object. Yeah. This is a random flying object that's now come, a chariot of fire, bro, with horses. Yeah, came, separated them, and took him up in a whirlwind. Sound like when the UFOs come, and they always show in the movies that beam of energy. Yeah, the man just gets taken up in the whirlwind. There you go. That's what it sounded like to me. And that was it. He was gone. But listen to this. This is the next part. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question though? Do you believe that?
Hold on, my brother. One second. We'll
get there.
Let the lecture finish, and then we get.
We'll get there.
All
yeah.
Right.
So look what comes next. And it came to pass as they still. Oh no, went there. And Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more. And he took hold of his own clothes and rent them into two pieces. Now, brother, this is what I was going to ask you, Kalam. You see, when he says and rent them into two pieces, that means he tear them apart.
Yeah.
So right now, Elisha is obviously screaming because obviously his master's been taken up before his eyes. So he's tearing his clothes, saying, my father, no, the chariots has come.
It's one of those ones.
No. Yeah.
You know what? Yeah. Funnily enough, just a side note, my Christians might like this one. This kind of sounds like a Jesus moment, when when Jesus on the cross, my father.
Oh.
And then the chariot is an horseman thereof, and he saw him no more. So that basically, remember, Jesus ascends into paradise after after he's been crucified, i.e., the ghost leaves him and he goes into paradise that same second, depending on which gospel you read. And I remember they also take the clothes and tore it into two and divide it amongst themselves and stuff. It sounds kind of like that, but I'm just saying. Continue. Just sounds like
that. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, he rent his clothes into two pieces. Now this is where it gets gritty again. He took up also the mantle of Elijah that fell from him, and went back and stood by the bank of Jordan. So again, read again. He took up also the mantle of Elijah that fell from him, and went back and stood by the bank of Jordan. Now, obviously, this mantle is some sort of thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe you can go into the Hebrew and find out exactly what this mantle is. But it sounds to me like it's something physical. Yeah. But anyway,
it's like a cloak.
And a cloak. Okay. And it says, and he took the mantle of Elijah that fell from him, and smote the waters, and said, where is the Lord God of Elijah? And when he also had smitten the waters, they parted hither and thither, and Elisha went over. So, as you can see again, whatever this cloak was, this magical cloak, whatever it was, this talisman or piece of magic that he used to hit the water with, bro, it parted the sea for him, and he was able to walk across as well.
What's those things? That's
Bearing in mind.
That's it. Them juju, fetishes. Them juju fetishes.
Fetishes. Juju. Juju. Trust me.
Yeah.
The juju is the power. The juju is strong. Trust me. All right. So, and then look, and the sons of the prophets, which were to view at Jericho, saw him. They said, the spirit of Elijah doth rest on Elisha. And they came to meet him and bowed themselves to the ground before him. And they said, unto him, behold, now be with thy servants 50 strong men. Let them go, we pray thee, and seek thy master, lest peradventure the spirit of the Lord have taken him up and cast him upon some mountain or into some valley. And he said, ye shall not send. So imagine, these sons of the prophets came unto him to say, bro, we saw what the heck you just did, but we're coming to back it. We saw everything. And they said, you know what, Elisha, these 50 men, they're going to go about looking, because just in case, we just want to check, just to make sure that God, when he took him up in this crazy whirlwind, he didn't get slung into a mountain or into some valley somewhere. So we'll go and check, to make sure, like, he's gone to heaven, innit? Yeah? And then he said, and they urged him till he was ashamed. He said, send them. They sent for 50 men, and they sought 3 days, but found him not. So they went and searched for his body for 3 days, even though Elisha said, don't do it. But they went anyway, searched for 3 days, they couldn't find him. So obviously he was gone to heaven. So
right. Again, like, you know me, I'm just seeing some Jesus moments here, but not really. Like, let me just say what I mean in it.
Yeah.
Like, it's got some, for me, I've got a symbolic eye in it. They sent 50 men the day of Pentecost,
and the men
50 days later. 50. That number has a lot of significance. Yeah. They sought 3 days, but found him not.
Yeah.
Always there, like Jesus resurrected after 3 days. I just see certain things. Anyways.
Yeah,
but
actually,
but didn't Islam like start with Abraham taking the Bible doctrines over there, and then the Muslims or whatever wrote the truth down on what people were saying back then, and never changed the scriptures and all that, but all the other scriptures rewrite and change everything. Ain't that the whole thing? I'm believing that the stories come from the Bible first. They saying the Bible predates the Quran. You see what I'm saying? But they saying Abraham went against the grain of the Bible, sort of say, but not to say. And then that's what started the Islamic. Is that true?
No, there's no truth in that at all. Don't let the
Yeah,
propaganda.
tell me what. Yeah, give me the truth, man. I'll be looking for the truth. What's the truth?
We'll touch on Islam a little bit later. But let's just keep with this, and then afterwards we'll answer those type of questions, because that's a mad rabbit hole that we'll get into.
Hey, Callum.
Yeah.
No.
Do you know what? Do you know what? Oh, go on, Riggs.
No, it was just a quick note. When you were speaking about the spirit thing, it just reminds me of an African tradition of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see how alcohol burns, it burns like a flame of fire.
Mm-hmm.
And in forms of traditions, you would put alcohol to the ground in forms
Mm-hmm.
of the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Just putting that out there.
Yeah. And again, family tree. For those of you guys who would like to come in, the link is actually shared down below. Like you see everybody in here right now. Actually, let me do this. Sorry, I apologize for everybody, but I'm going to just remove everybody from the stream. You're still there in the background, but I just want to have Gabs here for now, dropping his information, and afterwards we can actually interject and go in. But again, if you'd like to join us, again, please just hit the link, come on in. And of course, if you got any questions, right, or comments or messages that you want us to read out, simply tag Titans TV or drop us a super chat with a comment message or question below, and we'll highlight and bring it up on the screen. We need you guys to bring in your input. This is what we're here for. We're not here just to be talking amongst ourselves without no interaction and input. We want you to have your interaction and input. So please drop your questions and comments down below and we'll read them out. But of course, we're going to open up a little bit later on. After all of this is just kind of finished, the lecture, the presentation is finished, where you look come in and be like, yeah, Kalam, yeah, Gabs, you're wrong, liar, whatever the case is, right? Whatever you want to do, you get to voice yourself. You get to come on and be heard. And we want you to be heard. And if you've got any information or anything to counteract whatever we're saying, please just ready up in the background and come in and just smash us to pieces. We want you. We're inviting you. See them ways there? We ain't scared of no questions, right? Now, y'all know, because this, again, I'm going to drop on Speaker's Corner and just bring some heat. You know, at Speaker's Corner, a lot of the people there, they don't like questions. They don't want to hear no questions. All they want to do is shout and preach. We're here not as preachers, but as teachers. Not only here as teachers, but as students. So we're humble enough to say, all right, fam, if you say you got the truth, come on in. Educate us. We want to learn, you know, and we're okay to be wrong. We want to be wrong, because the moment that we're wrong, we have movement and room to grow. Because if you could teach something new that we didn't already know, now we're being filled with wisdom. So come on in and get filled with wisdom, baby. All right, Gabs, talk to me.
Yeah. I was gonna say, kind of like trying to summarize this all up together, because I know we was talking about this earlier, because you were saying that Elijah isn't an Israelite, if I remember. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So Elijah, let me see if I can share my screen real
there we
quick.
go.
Okay, share screen. See, I always keep messing up because it's so zoomed in. I don't even know how to fix it. But share screen, and let's see, Chrome tab, and let's go here, and we type in Elijah, and my God is my salvation, blah blah blah, and then let's see. Okay. Let's see, Tishbite, because that's what he's known as, Tishbite. All right, so, okay, Tishbite. In this case, as Elijah the Tishbite, he warns Ahab, because he's basically, the term Tishbite, as far as I remember, is basically means a foreigner. And let's see if I can just get it. Oh my God, let's see. Yeah. Okay, so I can't find it here. But yeah, anyways, Elijah the Tishbite, that's what he's known as, yeah. And let's see if we could just type in Tishbite and see what it comes up with. Look at that. We're doing on the spot. Is anyone predicted Elijah in the Hebrew Bible? Okay, Tishbite. Just giving you the same. Just no, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. Tell a lie. Tishbite is okay. So anyway, essentially, it does not. Essentially, it denotes a resident alien. Okay, sorry, let me just give it to you where I'm reading from. A resident alien. The concordance indicates that the word is used to denote a sojourner 9 times, a stranger 3 times, a foreigner once, and an inhabitant once. Okay, so basically, when it calls him a Tishbite, are you there, Gabs? Am I talking to myself?
Yeah. No, I'm here.
So yeah, when it calls him a Tishbite, basically means a stranger. He's not actually an Israelite.
Yeah.
And what is very, very interesting is, okay, you have term Phineas. Let's go to Phineas first. Phineas and Elijah. So Phineas is actually identified as Elijah by the Jews. Let me just quickly do that. Just make it quick. Okay, so in some traditions, for example, in the Targum Pseudo-Jonathan, Phineas is identified with Elijah. This identification apparently arose during the 1st century AD. Okay, so Elijah the Tishbite is said to be Phineas. Okay, but I bet most people doesn't actually know what the word Phineas means. Phineas. Let's just do this. Okay, Phineas and Parnahisi. There you go. There you go. Okay. Just real quickly. I want something a bit. Okay, yeah, we'll go here. Since I ain't got, when you got to do stuff off the fly. Okay, so this is according to the Oxford. Let me see if I can enlarge that for everybody to see. There we go. There we go. So right here. The Oxford Guide to the Bible, and Brown Drivers Briggs Hebrew and English Lexicon identify it as a variant of the Egyptian name Pa-Nehesi. So Elijah is said to be Phineas, and Phineas, translated properly, is said to be an Egyptian name, which means Pa-Nehesi. Pa-Nehesi. Just hold that in your head. We're going to continue so we can really understand what's going on here. According to the former, the Bible also uses Egyptian and Nubian names for the land and its people. For the Egyptians used to these color variations, the term for their southern neighbors was Nehisi, southerner, which eventually also came to mean the black or the Nubian. This Egyptian root, Nehisi, was the performative P as a definite article. It appears in Exodus 6:25 as the personal name of Aaron's grandson, Phineas. Pa-Nehesi. The theological word book of the Old Testament interprets the name to mean the bronze-colored one. Phineas, like Moses and Nun, lived in Egypt during the captivity, and the names were shared by the dominant culture there. Okay, so the main point is that the term Phineas or Pa-Nehesi actually means Nubian or Ethiopian, and properly translated means the bronze-colored one. So Elijah, being an alien or foreign to the land of Israel, was actually named, at least from the 1st century, an Ethiopian or a Nubian, according to this. But that's none of my business. I'm just pointing it out. Go ahead, Gabs.
But hold on. That's what I was going to ask. Sorry. That's what I was going to ask. Elijah, is that who they're saying is he's the grandson of Aaron? Is that what that verse was saying?
So yeah, Aaron's grandson is called Phineas. Yeah. And they relate as Phineas and Elijah being the exact same. In when you go into Jewish law and tradition, maybe if you go into Jewish encyclopedia, I might have to just do Jewish encyclopedia. They tell you that Phineas and Elijah is the same person. So yeah, Aaron's grandson is supposed to be Phineas or Elijah.
Yeah. Do you want me to tell you why that's kind of funny? Why that would kind of make sense? See, this is just what my brain does. Yeah. Because now that goes with this whole prophecy. You remember the last couple of shows we were talking about Jesus penned Joseph? It's kind of funny. Joseph is obviously remember the brother that got sent into Egypt as a slave and then rose to be high, like, but just just under the Pharaoh, but stay and live in Egypt, married an Egyptian, had 2 sons who were Egyptian and mixed with what he was. Yeah. And obviously the 12 tribe, they came into Egypt and lived. Now, the reason why my brain starts doing this, because it's like that line is following a certain lineage of Egypt, because now we have Moses, who was also born in Egypt, yeah, and was educated. Now, Aaron, that Aaron they're talking about, is that the Aaron, the brother of Moses, yeah?
Yep, correct.
Now that Aaron now obviously being the brother of Moses, and now remember, going back to what we were talking about earlier, both Aaron and Moses must have been educated in Egypt under the same knowledge, because remember, Aaron also laid down his magic the same as Moses. Yeah. Now, it's funny because remember, if we're saying Elijah is the grandson of Aaron, and now we also see Aaron, who's got this mantle, who's also doing magic. Yeah. And we're now finding out this name called Phineas, which means Parnahisi, which is the Egyptian, which is also correlating to him being in Egypt and understanding that same school of thought. But then now when we go down again into Jesus now, yeah, at his birth, remember, the angel of the Lord is told Mary and Joseph to take the son into Egypt and stay there. And like what we said, we have records of Jewish scholars and Christian scholars saying that Jesus was actually learned and educated in Egypt. Yeah. And now obviously we see Jesus doing miracles, walking on water, breaking bread, water into wine, all these things. The water into wine is kind of funny because that's kind of similar when Moses turned the sea red. And remember Moses turned is it Moses that turned the sea red? Yeah. With the blood, yeah. Turned the sea red. And then we have also Jesus doing the same miracle of turning water into wine, kind of like a correlation. And I don't know if this is the film or it's even in the Bible. I'm sure the wise men and the Pharaoh's magicians actually did the same trick.
What? I think they did all
the water. Yeah, they did all of them. So you can see that, and now, which then brings me back to my same point, because now later on in the Gospels, at the Transfiguration, which 3 people are there?
Elijah, Moses, and Yeshua Ben Pandera.
Now, bro, I don't know if that's coincidence or what, but that sounds like to me that's some family lineage. You got Moses there. You got his what would that be? That's his grandson. That's Aaron's grandson. That'd be his grandnephew. And then you got Jesus, who if we go by him saying that he's actually of the lineage of Joseph, those are all family members. And it makes sense because they were all in Egypt and they all got some sort of education and they was all performing miracles. What do you think about that, brother?
Bruv, you're dropping some heat, fam. You're dropping some Ross Clark heat. Listen, I think some Christians to join in. I just need some Christians to join in. Again, let me take some questions and comments, right? So if you would like to get your questions, comments read out, please just simply tag Titans TV and drop it down below right now, whilst we are watching the comment section. I'm going to go up about 10 up and then just read down everybody's one from 1024 downwards. Just so it says, Jesus, just read the books, says Jesus is raised, and compare. There's hundreds of differences. Indeed. Turning the sea red is not the same as turning water into wine. Shake my head. Jesus was an infant when he came out of Egypt. Indeed, you're right. Turning the sea red is not the same, or turning water into red is not the same, because it's not sea, it's the river. Turning the water red is not the same as turning water into wine. I hear you, but there is similarities. Why do I say there's similarities? Even though I'm not trying to push forward this idea. Why? Is because the water was turned blood red, or turned to blood, right? And then Jesus, this is the symbolic mystical teachings behind it when you go and learn about the Eucharist. Jesus turning the water into wine. The water into wine, but yet Jesus is, when you drink the wine, what does it represent? It represents Jesus's blood.
All right,
So,
then. Come on.
So,
come on.
Moses then turned the water into blood, red blood, or blood, and then Jesus turned the water into wine, blood, red blood. But the wine is supposed to represent blood. I don't know if you don't see there is some type of something going on, but there is. I can see it. And anyways, it continues to say, what was the last comment? Sorry, 10:24. It says here, Jesus was an infant when he came out of Egypt. Yeah, he was, according to that story. Yeah, indeed, he was. And you know what? I was but a youth. I think I was 7 years old when I came to this country. But it doesn't mean that whatever country I was in, I didn't pick up all of that information. That was my formative years. I learned how to read, write, speak, interact, everything else in that particular location. But yeah, and who's to say that because you've gone to one location, you came out this particular location, that you never went back into that other location? It's like being born in France, but then moving to England, but yet you've got all your friends and family back in France. Wouldn't you go back to France to go visit them? But anyways, I'm not even going to try to push for that narrative right now, because the scholars have dealt with that, and we can speak about that another time. Anyways, let's quickly see. Someone jumping around by Calaman Medicine Man. Oh, sorry, man. Sorry. I think we've got ADHD, that we're speaking too fast, and a lot of things in between. There is no proof of Moses in Egypt, but there is evidence of an Egyptian shaman that started a revolution based on a single theory. Something like that, yeah. Titans TV, I'm Catholic. Don't try to preach me the Eucharist. We believe that the whole of Jesus is present in both the host and blood. Yeah, we're not. Did I say otherwise? Why don't you teach the structured courses? I will. Let's get 10 people. 10 people who would like to be taught structured courses on what do you want it on? Christianity, Jesus stuff, Egyptian stuff, whatever stuff you want it. We can do structured courses on it. Of course, Bilal, you need to holler at me as well, independently. But yeah, we can do that. We'll do something like that. How are we confused when you think women can get pregnant without having sex? Oh Lord have mercy, you lot are dropping some stuff in here. All right, are you saying Elijah is a foreigner? Yes and no. I'm not actually saying it. The Bible is saying that he was a Tishbite, which has been translated to mean a foreigner. Yeah, a sojourner. Yeah. For a story to be changed, you have to prove it's the same story. Boom, boom, boom. Who is Yeshua Ben Pandera? Ooh, that's a good one. I actually want to touch on that. I want to do a show on that, actually. But let me just quickly read out, and then I'll get back to you on that one. You have no proof he went back, which means you're making assumptions. My brother, LB, yes and no. Yes or no? When you say we have no proof, I would half agree with you and say, yes, we don't have any proof of anything that took place 2,000 years ago involving Jesus. What we do have is attestations of Jesus going back to Egypt, going to Egypt. And we find that from the Jews and the Greeks that he went to Egypt, back to Egypt, or went to Egypt at a later stage in his life. So yeah, but of course, if you're religiously minded or Christian, or religiously minded, let me not say Christian, if you're religiously minded, you will not take from sources that talk about a person 2,000 years ago that it does not belong to your own party. But if you are not religiously minded and you want to take the broadness of the evidence that there is present and listen to the different attestations, you find that yes, he did. Okay, so let me go back to this. Who is Yeshua Ben Pandera? Okay. And I would say to you, okay, so for those of you guys who don't know about Yeshua Ben Pandera, everything is actually making mention of. Basically, roughly, approximately around 70 CE, we have a rabbi. Give me a second. Let's see if I can bring it up. I know I've got it in one of these books. Give me a second. I will be with you shortly. Let me get you the rabbi's name. We always like to bring you lots of good information. Bear with me for a second. Okay, so we have, nope, not Josephus. Let's go a little bit later. Okay, Rabbi Elijah. There we go. Rabbi Elijah, I think, is the first person to make mention of Yeshua Ben Pandera. Okay. Yes, and he flourished basically between 70 AD and 100 AD. He was arrested, okay? And he was arrested. Let me give you the story. I'll give you the story. I could actually give you the actual quotation, but let me give you the story. Okay, it is said to have been arrested as an old man on the charge of being a Christian. Reportedly, he submitted his case to the Roman governor's discretion, was therefore pardoned, and later explained his arrest by the admission that once in Sepphoris, a city of Galilee, a Galilean had told him some heretical teaching in the name of Jesus, the son of Panteri. Okay, so basically there was a Christian of Galilee, and he was the one, not Rabbi Elijah, taught the rabbi something in the name of Yeshua Ben Pandera. Paneteri. There's difference in pronunciation, okay? Difference in pronunciation. And that's the first time we are welcomed to this character or the name Pandera or Panthera or Panteri or whatever. The first time we've been introduced to it. And the rabbis themselves don't actually know what to make of this themselves. And people in general in scholarly community, they don't know exactly. There's a lot of assertions of who this person can actually be. But I'm actually going to give you something. I'm going to put something towards you guys, because the name Panthera is not actually a Hebrew or Aramaic name. It's not Hebrew or an Aramaic name. It could, I'm going to posit this to you. It could either be two things. It could either be two names from two different languages, because it's clearly not Hebrew, it's clearly not Aramaic. What two languages do you think it could be from? If you heard the name Panteri, Panthera, whatever the case is, I'm going to ask you guys first. What language do you think it's from? What language? And I will say this. It could be of two languages that I'm familiar with, and especially during that time, place, in that region. It could either be Egyptian or it can be Greek. Okay, and if we take it to be Greek, it could derive from, it could be a derivative of the word panther, as in the Black Panther, Black Power, Panther, Panthera. That's what it could be. Okay, but I actually think, okay, that, and you can find this in the inscriptions itself, that it's not actually Greek, but Egyptian. It's Egyptian. And it's actually Pa-Neteri. Pa-Neteri. That is the pronunciation that is actually recorded within inside of the very first attestation is Pa-Neteri. And Pa-Neteri in Egyptian, Pa meaning the, and Neteri meaning God or the divine. Okay, so Pa-Neteri. So this Galilean was calling Jesus the son of the divine. That's how I understand it. You could say he's calling him Jesus the son of the panther. I don't know. because he wasn't known as the son of the panther. He was known as Jesus, the son of Mary, or Jesus, son of Miriam. But they're using Jesus, the son of Panthera, or Paneteri, meaning Jesus, the son of God. That is what I particularly think it is. That's what I particularly think it is. And other people have said that this Panteri is also Jesus's father. But I think it's not talking about his physical earthly father, but his heavenly father. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. That is my take on it. I've actually done a nice little dissertation on it, actually. And I go into more detail. But one of these days, I'll start breaking down some of this stuff for you guys if you are ready for some academics. So yeah. So who is Yeshua Ben Pandera? That was what the Galileans knew him as 2,000 years ago. That is what, as recorded by Rabbi Elijah, that is what his name was, and was commonly known to Rabbi Elijah, to the Jews of that of Galilee as well. Jesus Ben Panteri. Now, it draws the question: who is Panteri? Let's say Panteri is actually a man. Who is this Panteri? Who is this Panteri? Is he somebody other than Joseph? Is he actually Joseph? Or is he, as I propose, could be God itself? Go ahead.
Right. Yeah, nah, that's me. That's most of my stuff. I'm just waiting to get some questions in now. I don't know. Have you got people in waiting to come in? That's kind of me, you know?
Okay, all right, that's you. Cool. So if you guys would like to join us and ask any questions or whatever the case is, man, like Rich Kid, you need to.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, potato. Abdul, is that you? Abdul? Yeah. So if you'd like to come in, yeah, shouts out to Wild Callum. Is that the consensus? We'll go into that. So yeah, so if you'd like to come in, okay, yeah. So I believe is it Celsus that put forward that he was a Roman soldier? It's only Celsus actually puts forward that he is a Roman soldier. But the question is now, okay, question is, if he is a Roman soldier, okay, was he national? His genetics, his nationhood, was he Roman, as in genetically Roman, or was he a soldier within inside of the Roman army? Meaning, you had Jews that were Roman, that were soldiers of the Roman army. You had Egyptians that was soldiers of the Roman army. You had other peoples that were soldiers of the Roman army. What does it mean? So there's a lot from an academic standpoint. You're not going to get these type of questions and concerns inside of religious circles, but in terms of academic circles, these types of questions, is asked and is wondered. And we should all, if you're interested in this type of topic, we can chop it up and go into that still. But yeah, and truth be told to you, I think, based upon the evidence itself, no, that's too controversial. Okay, no. If we're being academically minded versus religiously minded, let me put it like this. Jesus is the son of the Holy Spirit and Mary. Okay? Let's put it out of the way. But if we're going to take ourselves outside of the religious confines, and let's talk academics now, let's go into that. So, excuse me. In terms of the very first attestation of Jesus himself, there is no mention of Joseph, by the way. There's no mention of Joseph. But there is a mention of Jesus being the son of Mary. Now, what's very interesting about that, and which actually brought in a lot of controversy for the Jews and for the Christians itself, is that holds a lot of connotations. What do you mean, the son of Mary? It should be the son of the Father, right? Like whoever the Father is, Jesus, the son of the Father. But what most people don't understand, when the Jews refer to somebody as being the son of a woman or having no father, okay, it literally means that their father was a Gentile, or that parent was a Gentile, but the mother itself was actually a Jew, which is very interesting. So for those of you guys who will say he is a Roman by blood, according to that narrative, it could be this could have some credence. Could have some credence because it's kind of alluding to the fact that his father was not actually a Jew. Jesus' father may not have actually been a Jew. Now, another thing as well, we know about Jesus being brought up in Galilee or being born in Galilee and so forth, right? But what most people don't understand, that Galilee was actually, it's called Galilee of the Gentiles, meaning the people that reside in Galilee weren't always Jews or weren't Jews. It was only during the Maccabean Wars, about 150 years prior to Jesus' birth, were there a concentrated effort on converting the people there, the Gentiles there, into the Jewish tradition. So another thing, was Jesus' father actually a Jew? No. Next time on Titans TV. Good question, right? Now this is academia away from religion. Remember, religion, I'm telling you, Jesus, biological, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, Father was the Holy Spirit. Don't come at me. Don't come at me. But if we're talking academia, we're taking ourselves away from beliefs and religion. Okay. So who else is up here? We've got Banksy up in the building. Got Banksy. So have you got any questions? Anybody got any questions for Gabs? Any questions on the magic stuff that we've been dropping? Again, please just tag Titans TV. Tag Titans TV. Rich Kid says Celsius on the true doctrine. LB says Titans. Okay, here we go. I haven't read this yet, so let's find out what it says. Why do we speak as if religious people aren't academic? The whole historical method was introduced by Christians. Shake my head. I am saying those who are religiously minded, and when I say religiously minded, I mean dogmatic minded, that won't. If I say to a normal human being, no, that sounds bad. How do I speak normally?
Please let me know when I can come in.
For any person who's academically minded, scientifically minded, they know that a man and a woman, or even scratch that. Nowadays, it's even could do it even without a man and a woman. We know that we need a spermatozoa, and we need the egg or the ovum to come together for a child to be born. In fact, you need both an X and a Y chromosome, meaning you need the Y chromosome from a man, in order for the woman to have an X chromosome, in order to have XY to bring about a male child. So we know that there needs to be some type of sexual relationships, or there needs to be an ovum meeting with the sperm for a human being to come into existence. But from a religious perspective, Mary was supposedly a virgin. And supposedly the Holy Spirit gave birth to Jesus, right? Or whatever the case is. So there is two distinctions. There is normality, i.e. what we experience in our day-to-day life. Science and academia says one thing, but religion says another thing. So we have to make the distinction. And I don't want to upset anybody on the religious side, because your belief is Jesus was the son of the Holy Spirit. So let's keep it as that. I'm not trying to shift you away from that. I'm not trying to budge you away from that. Hold on to that belief and be firm with it. I'm not even trying to alter you or change you or convert you. Hold on to that. But let's speak academically. So you can leave your religion behind for a second and speak academically. That's what I'm trying to state by what I'm saying. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, apologize. I'm only half human. Okay. Banks. Oh, sorry, wait, let me just read out a few more of these questions or comments. Esoteric Jesus versus exoteric Jesus. Gnostic teachings of Jesus differ greatly indeed. Yeah, if you want to know about African Christianity or Egyptian Christianity, go into Gnosticism. You see what Egyptians or Africans were saying in that time. Cool. Let's go in now. So since everybody is here, talk to me, Banksy.
Hey, how you doing, Titan? It's been a long time. I'm so glad that you're starting up again and doing more shows. The only questions I have, or at least thoughts that I have on this, because I'm not as knowledgeable as you guys. Two things. Number one, I don't know. Have you read Reza Aslan's Zealot? And if you have, what are your thoughts on that? The other thing is, why did the Jews and to a greater extent, I would say Christianity have tried to excise the influence of the Egyptian religions from the Abrahamic religions. It's almost unmentioned. I mean, I have not come across any like obvious evidence that the gods of the Egyptians or the Kemetic religions have influence or have been a direct influence upon Judaism or Christianity. The only references I know of the popular ones is that the Jews, the God of the Jews, was in a direct conflict with the Egyptians. Moses came and he proved that his God had a bigger woo-woo than the Egyptians, and he turned the rivers into blood, and he brought the plagues upon Egypt. But there was no mention in any of these that the Egyptian religions and the Egyptian gods in any way influenced the Jewish religion. And further afield, Christianity has no mention of Egyptian influence upon it, which it seems to me that you're saying that this is a mistake, that Egyptian religions had a great influence upon Judaism and later on Christianity. Am I missing? Am I correct on that?
You are correct. You are correct.
So why did they excise this? Why did they try to totally, root it out? As in, it seems as if Egyptian religions had no effect upon Christianity or Judaism. I mean, they've tried to cut them out effectively.
What it is that we only have a particular form of Judaism, a particular form of Christianity, and a particular form of even Islam that is predominant in the West. But if we were to open it up and find out what was going on during those times and those periods, we would understand the people of the time itself understood the great impact that Egypt had on Judaism, Christianity, and even Islam itself. All right. And how can I put it? The gods, this is what I'm saying, people, if we were only a little bit literate, and actually read what the people of the time were actually saying, they identified, for example, let me just give you one example. The Jews themselves identified Egyptian gods as being Jewish prophets. Let me repeat that. The Jews themselves identified Jewish gods, and even the Christians themselves identified Egyptian gods as Jewish prophets, and even, of course, prophets that related to Christians as well were Jews, and so forth. But who is taught this? Who knows this? Who learns this? Nobody.
Exactly.
And let me just give you, for example, a quick dalil, a quick evidence, right? Quick evidence. Let's see if I've got something here. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see here. Let's see. Let me try to click this one. Okay, so let me zoom in. So this is Egyptian cultural icons in Midrash. Again, most people won't know anything about this, and the reason why you won't know it is because this is academia. Academia writing about Egyptian cultural icons in the Midrash, i.e. in the Jewish literatures. Okay? Now, I'm going to read a whole passage here. All right? This is a footnote. I'm going to read it out to you guys. And you guys are going to learn something today. Okay? And this is very important as well. The identification of Joseph with Serapis. Now, Serapis is actually an Egyptian deity. It's a combination of two deities, actually, Asaru or Osiris and Hapi or Apis. Okay, was known in antiquity and later Suedis. Contains a very extensive discussion of Joseph as Serapis. All right. So already we're identifying that somebody here, a scholar, says that Joseph is Serapis. Let's go a little bit further. See also the excellent survey by Gerard Musis, the Interpretatio Judaica of Serapis. Okay, and it continues. As mentioned above, Serapis embodied Osiris, and Joseph was identified with Osiris in Midrashic text. Joseph was identified with Osiris in Midrashic text. Hold on. Is Joseph identified with Osiris by Egyptians or Kemetics? Is that what it says? No. It says that Joseph was identified with Osiris in Judaic, i.e., Midrashic text. These are the Jews saying this, not Egyptians, not the Greeks, not the Romans, not anybody else. This is what the Jews were saying. Let's continue. However, the Midrashic references to Osiris in the Horus and Osiris myths have little in common with Osiris Apis, i.e. Serapis. Additionally, the contention of equating Joseph as a bull with the Apis bull is questionable regarding the Midrashic text about the coffin legend. The equivalence of Joseph and Serapis is in all likelihood based upon Manetho's etymology of Osar Seth, relating it to Osiris in Heliopolis. One may also note that the aged Osiris at the Heliopolis. Musli's interpretation Judaica conclude that there is no connection between Joseph and Apis in early Jewish texts. The first equation of Joseph with the bull is found in the Church Fathers. Church Fathers, okay? Church Fathers. Let's continue. Musi refers to Melita of Sardis as the earliest Christian source before 19 TCE. The Egyptians worshipped Joseph. This is what the Christians saying. The Egyptians worshipped Joseph, a Hebrew who was called Serapis. Okay? This is what the Christians are saying about the Egyptians worshiping Joseph, who is called Serapis. All right. It's not what the Egyptians are saying, by the way. Let's continue. Because he supplied them with the sustenance in the years of famine. Musi states, page 193, that the identification of Joseph with Serapis dates at least, okay? He dates this to at least from the 2nd century before Christ era. And it's going to be very, very important later on when I drop some information here about Jesus being the son of Joseph and what it means to Jewish understanding in the 1st century CE, because they identify Joseph with Serapis. But that's another story for another day. Let me just quickly continue and says, keep on reading. 69 mentioned that the identification of Serapis with Joseph could have derived from the identification of Joseph with a bull, since Serapis was a designation of the divine Apis bull in Memphis. The identification of Joseph with a bull is supposedly inherent in passages in Deuteronomy 33:17. However, I agree with Moses, there is difference between the bulls as Joseph in the above verse and Joseph as Serapis, the god, who may have the form of a bull. It continues, and there's other books that will show you that the Jews themselves talk about, you know, the coffin of Joseph being in the same manner as of Osiris, it being thrown into the river and having to be, how can I put it, recovered, and the pieces of Joseph needed to be reassembled together again. There is so much of intermerging of Jewish and Egyptian thought from the 2nd century BCE, 5th century BCE. Like, there is so much intertwining that today most people don't even understand and realize what was going on during those time periods. So yes, according to the Jews themselves, Egyptians, this is what the Jews are saying, Egyptians worship Joseph as Serapis, and Jews themselves identify Joseph as Serapis. So we can see how the Egyptian deity Serapis had an impact and influence on the Judaic mind of the 2nd century BCE, leading up to the 2nd century after Christ, even with the Christians themselves writing from the Church Fathers, writing, where it says, yeah, the Church Fathers writing as well. I'm out of breath. I'm talking too much. Y'all get that?
Yeah, I heard that loud and clear. Just a quick question. How you doing, brother? How are you?
Good.
Peace and peace, everybody, to the chat. Peace and blessings, everyone. New here. Just wanted to add my 2 cents on what I just heard that was read. I'm out of breath after listening to all of that. Is that a primary source? Would that be considered a primary source? I know we're dealing with academia, so I just wanted to ask you that first.
No, that's a secondary source. I can, if you would like me to, I can bring up the primary sources, but that's secondary.
Yeah, because when we read the books by Egypt, Light of the World by Gerald Massey, he compares a lot of the Jewish deities or the stories that came out of Kemet. He compares, he does a pretty good job of explaining how the Jews came up with a lot of their mythologies, such as Noah's Ark, the flood, Moses. He does a good job at explaining where they got their inspiration for these stories at, where it went from from zoomorphic to anthropomorphic. So he does a good job of that. I don't want to say I agree with what I just heard, but it's a little bit all over the place because the form of Judaism that we have today was established after the Persian rule. That's when it was truly established. The Bible that we see today was conveyed after the Persian rule when they came back home, apparently. So we would probably want to start there and start looking for answers. Or when we start trying to compare the deities, because none of the Egyptians will call Asar and Joseph the same. There's a problem. Asar and Joseph are two totally different ontologies. The ontologies are totally different.
100%, and that's the key point I would like to just drone in, that the Egyptians would never ever hold tight.
Or Africans. I don't like separating Egypt from Africa. Excuse me.
Hold tight, me,
Yeah.
because I don't want to. I never ever actually want to say never, because there could be some new information that arises that says different, and I would be wrong. So I like trying to be right as much as possible. But as far as we can tell, let me say this: as far as we can tell, the Egyptians never referred to their own deities as being of Hebrew origin.
No,
the only deity, there is an exception to that. The only deity that they refer to as being Hebraic itself is the deity Seth or Sotuk, because he was a deity of foreigners. Okay, and can
you explain that?
So Sotuk or Seth, okay, he's an ancient deity. He's an ancient Egyptian deity.
He's one of the first deities, correct?
Yes, but he's also how can I put it? Like he's a person that is said to be like a foreigner as such. He's a chaotic deity, but he's also said to be a foreigner. If that makes any sense. And the Egyptians themselves ascribed at times inside of their history, roughly during like the 1st century, 2nd century, we have evidence of this. It could even be prior to this as well, but definitely during 1st and 2nd century, we see that they equate Seth and Yao or Yahu, Y-A-O or Y-A-H-U.
That would be Canaanite.
Yeah, so they equate the Hebraic deity Yahweh with Seth itself. And the Sethian animal was sometimes depicted as a form of a donkey at times, or horse or donkey at times. And one of the very first inscriptions we actually have of Jesus. Let me see if I can do this. Bear with me for a hot second.
Sure. You're gonna make me break out my notes here.
Well, the donkey is quite significant symbology in the Christian mythos. I mean, the little donkey, there's a whole song about it. The donkey is featured quite a lot in. There's a talking donkey in the Bible, isn't there?
Yeah.
Donkey is prominently featured in the Bible.
So right here, roughly 200 AD, there was something in Rome, I think, called the Alexamenos Graffito. And it's kind of hieroglyphic in a sense. Let me just quickly show it to you, because I know my brother likes. You can't. Can you not see that? Yeah, you lot can.
What's the name of that book?
This book itself is called Magic in Christianity. Okay, by Robert Connor. But in there, it has the Alex. So if you want to get, let me do it a bit better. What am I showing you from the book when we have big internet, Abby? We have internet.
Awesome. Share your screen prominently so we can see it. Yeah.
Just share screen. Everything we could just Google. Share Google. Sources, baby. Sources.
Google is the true Jesus.
Yep. Google is God. All right.
Yeah.
Alexamenos. Let me spell that right. Alexamenos Graffito. Anyway, let me just spell it how Alex. I already spelled it wrong, you know. Alexamenos Graffito. There we go. Images. Okay, let's do that, and let's see if we can open. No, let's make it big. How do we make it big? No.
The Alexamenos Graffito.
No, okay. Let's see. If I want to make this big, okay, it's in Wikipedia. There we go, perfect. But it's not sharing that screen. It needs to share this screen. Can you not see that? No, can you? What are you not seeing? No, you're not seeing it properly. Give me a second. Share screen. Chrome tab. Alexamenos Graffito. There you go. Hopefully, can you not see that large?
Okay.
There you go. So on here, you basically have a form of hieroglyph in itself. What I mean by hieroglyph is that it's actually a crucified. It's a depiction of Christ.
It's a crucified donkey or something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a crucified donkey. Okay, and the graffiti actually says. Let me tell you what the graffiti says. It says here. Okay. It says here, Alexamenos worships God. Okay, so the right underneath says Alexamenos worships God. But what is very important about this is, and why we know this is to do with Jesus Christ itself, is because, of course, it's being crucified, and you have the horse of a donkey-like creature. And what happened in ancient Egypt, not ancient Egypt, Egypt itself, the Coptic period, the donkey itself, funnily enough, would make the noise like eon, like you know the noise that donkeys make. But the Egyptians themselves would basically say the noise that the donkey is making is the same way how to pronounce Yahweh, basically Yahoo or Yahoo, however they pronounce Yahweh, right? And that became a glyph or a symbol of the Judaic God. Okay, the donkey became a symbol of the Judaic God Yahweh itself. And what's the major point? What was the point we're trying to make again?
Seth is depicted as a donkey occasionally.
Yeah, and Seth is depicted as a donkey occasionally. And when you go into the Christian magical papyri, okay, and this is going to sound mad to people, you'll see that Seth and Yahweh is always equated as the same deity, basically, or equated with one another.
Okay. The donkey taking the form of the donkey doesn't start to come around until the Ptolemaic period. We don't see that in the Old Kingdom at all. It only comes around during the Ptolemaic kingdom. During the Ptolemaic period.
I believe you could be right. Yeah.
This is again my guess, my thoughts. If Seth is depicted as the donkey, and occasionally there's this, and also the Yahweh is actually a Jewish form of Seth, could Jesus potentially? Because Jesus is always referred to as the Son. Now I'm trying to fit in Ra here, basically. Where does Ra fit in? Because Ra is a prominent god in the Egyptian religion. I would be amazed if the symbology of the Jews who've taken the Egyptian gods and kind of changed them around a little bit and associated them with Yahweh and other things, there must be a Ra in here somewhere.
There is, but this is not during the Christian period, but during the Judaic period. I think we did a show on this prior, and we showed the iconography of the Jews. So they have like steles, coins, all these different things that they had. Is it coins? That's right, the same coins. Anyway, they had all these different inscriptions, during 9th to the 7th century, I believe it was, that we showed, before Christ era. And you will see that a lot of the iconography is exactly, you'll have Ankhs, you'll have the sun, you have the winged disc, you have the scarab, you have all of these things that's been portrayed. and some Jews did identify Ra and Yahweh as the same being, type of thing. So, for example, you have in Malachi 4:2, I believe, you have the Sun, S-U-N, of righteousness, in his wings, or sorry, like wings. Who knows the quote? Who knows the quote?
Yeah, I know it.
He says
Yeah.
the sun shall arise with righteousness in its wings.
Yeah.
There you
And
go.
then in the book of Psalms it says God is a sun and a shield.
Shield. Yeah.
There you go. And then when again, if you read Philo does like a brilliant breakdown of how he identifies the sun and God being the same thing. And of course, like for the Egyptians, the God and the sun is identical. It's a homonym, meaning the word for God is the same word for sun. Ra is the same word for the transcendent deity, and is the same word as the physical deity in the sky, the sun. But yeah, that's prior to Christianity. You'll find those Ra and Ra elements within inside of Judaism.
Well,
Yeah,
when we talk about Yahweh and comparing him to Ra, what time period are we starting with? Because we really don't know how the Jews worshipped, because first we have a problem, there's no proof of their temple. So we don't know how they worshipped as we do with Greeks or with the Egyptians, because they have temples where people can go in and observe and get an ideal on how they worship their deity.
I think we have some information actually, and I think we have some information, and I will point you towards, of course, Egypt. Of course, I have to point you towards Egypt.
Yeah, it all starts in Egypt. We got that, but yeah.
There you go. So if you go into the Elephantine papyri,
we're gonna have trouble with that. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have some trouble with that using the Elephantine papyri, because the Jews in the island of Elephantine, they knew nothing about a Passover.
Yeah. So of course, of course. So there's a lot of things that what we understand of Judaism today, there is different groups of Jews that practice things completely different to what we understand as mainstream Judaism today. Just as Christianity, like a lot of Christians, for example, let's just give you an example. Like some early Christians, not all early Christians saw Jesus not as God, but as a man of God.
I agree.
Some Christians didn't see Jesus just simply as a man of God, but they saw him as an angel on earth. Some early Christians actually did see Jesus as a God incarnated on earth. Some Christians actually saw Jesus as a God, but merely took on or merely appeared to be humans. They would be called the Deicetics. So you have all these different forms of Christians going on, and there's still more. There's still loads more forms of Christians that took place in the very first 20 years after Jesus' death. So just imagine how many forms, and that's just Jesus either being a man or a God or an angel and so forth. Like that's just one element. That's just one element. Just imagine how many different elements that they differed with one another. So just imagine how these different Jews from different locations, some in Babylon, some in Egypt, some in Samaria, some in Jerusalem, Judea, Arabia, Africa, how they differed from each other vastly. So, of course, you're going to find differences. For example, the Sumerian Jews, they don't look to Jerusalem and the Mount Zion and all those things there. They have their own mountain, I think called Gerizim or something like that. And they have like their own.
They believe Mount Gerizim is the
There you go. They've got their own Torah and stuff. Completely different. Well, not completely, but let's say somewhat different to the Jewish, what we know as Jewish Torah,
right?
Because we only have access. We're only aware of one form of Judaism, but we're not aware of the multiplicity of Judaism that actually existed, unfortunately.
So these guys who call themselves Hebrew Israelites, how much validity do they have and claims do they have to their sort of origins? I mean,
none.
No comment.
No comment.
None.
Nobody wants to
None.
touch that one.
Let me be. Hey, I'll be the one to say none. None. None.
I didn't say anything, right? So don't look at me.
But what I
saying
mean
no
is,
comment, no comment.
it's just what the way you guys are expressing that this Judaism, it's not really codified. I mean, what we recognize as Judaism is far from anything being the original form of Judaism, and also the people that we consider to be Jews are only one tribe, I guess, one type of Jews. So this is what I mean. This was causing me like a major brain aneurysm about, these Hebrew Israelite guys and other people. They're calling themselves Jews. Maybe they got something, maybe there's some validity to their claim. I don't know. I just
Well,
like,
the primary claim that the black Hebrew Israelites have to them being the Jews is Deuteronomy 28 verse 68. That's one of their primary claims, and a lot of the information that they present is very pseudo at best to prove that blacks or African Americans or whatever anybody wants to call us are in fact Israelites. And when you go look into this information, this pseudo information that they deliver to everyone, you find out that's not even what was written, that's not what's said, and that's not the point that was tried to be gotten across when deciphering certain information and data. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah. So their claims are frivolous, but can there be
That's
a case
my opinion.
made?
I don't want to make it as a claim. I don't want to make a claim on that, but that's my claim on it because I know this is a diversified show. But
I'm just
the
thinking,
information is pseudo.
can there be a real valid assertion made that there are potentially sub-Saharan and even Saharan Jews who are not part of, or simply do not look like what we consider Jews? I mean, I think we all kind of guess the average Jewish person, the big nose, the curly hair, the very light-skinned individual. This is the typical, atypical, stereotypical sort of image of a Jew that most people would relate to. The Israeli, you know what I mean? Whilst as far as I understand, these are Ashkenazi Jews, and there are at least 12 tribes, right?
Well, I'm not going to say that it was not a faith or a system or a belief that came into Africa starting at the northern tip or from the Levant. I'm not going to say that they weren't black. That doesn't mean anything. I don't try to claim an identity like that. That's ignorant to do that. What I am saying is many of the claims they make to assert Africans over here in America as Israelites are bogus. And it hasn't been researched hard enough. I'm not going to say there's no such thing as an Israelite or a Hebrew, whatever they want to call themselves. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, once again, just the information that they present. It's kind of hard to jump over the entire west coast of Africa, jump over all of Central Africa, jump over the Congo while you at it, jump over everything in Northern Africa and say we come directly from this little strip of land called Israel. That makes no sense.
Oh, I see. They're making a claim that they're actually Israeli Jews, like from that.
They say that's where we come from, and that's just not true, because once you begin to dig harder and harder and do the core research, it's a whole lot that goes on. And I don't want to take the conversation away from what my brother was talking about earlier, because I was enjoying the information he was putting out, but it's
my assertion wasn't that they come from Israel. I was just curious that, because I know there are Ethiopian Jews, and so if there are Ethiopian Jews, could there be Congolese Jews? Could there be Nigerian, Somali, Ethiopian, Eritrean?
The short answer is yes, they could be. The short answer there is that yes, they could be, and even a short answer is most probably could be. Yeah, they most probably could be. It's just the demonstration of it needs to be provided, and it's not very difficult to provide that as a demonstration. because all it takes is just one man, for example, to travel from Nigeria and have children with a Jamaican woman. And that Nigerian could have children that Nigerian's child can have a child. Nigerian man who married or had a child with a Jamaican could now marry and have a child with a European woman. And that European woman's child, who is Nigerian, can now have a relationship with an Australian. And an Australian can have a relationship with a Chinese person. And then you can have this one Nigerian genealogy, cultural, I don't even know whatever you want to call it. That cultural aspect of it could have been passed down to Europeans, Australians, Chinese, and Jamaicans within the space of 4 to 5 generations. So it's quite possible. People traveled around, the ancient world quite a bit, and they could have had children with all these diverse groups of people. So it's not very far-fetched to think that they could be a Congolese or Nigerian or Ugandan or a Chinese Jew or whatever the case is. It's not very hard to say that that's false. But what it is now is just, can you just show us the evidence that truly did happen? Or the
Thank you.
cultural aspect
That's it.
was actually retained during that period as well?
Yeah, well, you see, for me, the main aspect is because being a Jewish person has legal and national rights. I mean, you could effectively, if you can prove that you're a Jew, you can go to Israel. They'll give you residency. You can, what I mean, they'll give you money to build a house. I mean, this has real world consequences, real world effects on a person's life. So right now, being a Jewish person has status and has a position and has things. There are benefits that come with that claim. So if this is only being shilled out, if you like, to the European or Ashkenazi Jews, but other Jews are being cut out of this, we could.
That's a very like the view that you have is very mainstream. When you start defining them Ashkenazi and European, according to the scripture, according to their Bible, they say it's a one true bloodline. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to up your argument. It's like they believe it's just one true bloodline, but I don't think that they truly understand the nature of the Jewish culture. Like, one of the things I always ask them is, where's your midrash? Where's your Talmud? Because when you go to their synagogues, they have a Talmud in midrash. That's what they're studying out of. They're not reading a King James version Bible. They don't read the New Testament. Most don't accept the New Testament as the word of Yahweh. You understand what I'm saying? So what they believe is it's just one bloodline, and this bloodline is being punished because of what their forefathers did. This is what the sect or the cult. And when I say cult, I don't mean it in a bad way. Cult only means those who teach the secret things. They teach that they are the Israelites and there is no one else. And they use Revelations, I think 2 verse 9, to say that the white people, quote unquote, are the synagogue of Satan.
All right, let me hold tight you there.
Yes,
there. It's gone over to 2-hour mark, and I want to make sure that everybody in the comment section has got all their questions or comments out. Apologies, okay? I'm not going to go back and reread everything. You have literally, what's the time now? 20 past. You have 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes, right? You have the opportunity to just write down all your questions and comments and messages to the show. Tag Titans TV, just write them down. I'm just going to watch it go by, and I'm going to read them all out. I'm going to highlight them as well. So start. There's going to be silence. It's going to be quiet because I don't want anybody else to talk. I don't even want myself to talk. I just want you to talk. Let yourself be heard. If you haven't already, hit the like button, of course, please. Come on, family. Come on. This is Titans TV, baby. This is the home of conscious information. Nowhere else you're going to find this type of platform and information being delivered to you on YouTube world. You ain't gonna find it anywhere else. So hit the like button for this unique phenomenon that has taken place. Truly, I say unto you, we are doing the Lord's work. Imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine that. As I always say, you know, like, what do you expect of the Messiah when he returns? Who do you want him to come back to? Do you want him to come back to the Jews, the Christians, the Muslims, the non-believing atheists? Who should Jesus come back to? Imagine this. We are doing the Lord's work. And as doing the Lord's work, we have come to everyone. We have Jews, Muslims, Christians, Hebrew Israelites, atheists, Comedics, all different types of people coming onto the platform, agnostics, to share their love for the Logos, for knowledge, for information, for wisdom, for reasoning. Allahu Akbar! So yeah, hit the like button, man. Show us some love, man. Show us your support. I only said Allahu Akbar because of Takiya's got some Allahu Akbar stuff here. Forgive me. Okay, the ones that went to Europe became light skins. The ones stayed in Israel still look as brown as Arabs. Do you know what you should do? It's quite simple. Go to I think Acts. Acts has a nice description, yeah, of all the different Jews. You have Jews from all different places: Arabia, Egypt, Libya, Rome, and so forth. Like, you have all these different types of Jews. There's just Jews all around the world, four corners of the world, of the known world to the Israelites at that time, should I say. So yeah, okay, the Canaanites are the Israelites. Their God was not Yahweh. He was called El-Asherah and Baal. They were polytheistic people. They found Canaanites' bones, did DNA, and they were not West Africans. All right, dropping some bombs. Times TV, what did Tisserdian say about the guy who said Jesus was a donkey? You tell me. You tell me. Times TV, how did the Arabs become white, and how do they deny being originally black? The problem is the Arabs never became white. Let me answer that very cryptic. That was a cryptic answer, right? Let me answer it in a very controversial way. The Arabs didn't become white. The Arabs are still Arabs, or the black Arabs are still black, or brown olive tone Arabs are still the same complexion that they are today. Okay, they've always been that same complexion, and so too shall they remain. Our conceptualization or our perception of what an Arab is has become white. If you go into Arabia today, Mecca, Medina, all those things there, they acknowledge that the original Arabs, right? You won't get this anywhere else, but the original Arabs, if you go there as a black man or a black woman, they may, and you're speaking to them in Arabic language dialect, they might think that you are the original Arabs. They know that they're not original Arabs. They know that they are either of Turkish, Indian, Indo-European, Persian. Like, they know that there are a mixture of different genetic strands. But the people deep in the south, or the Shona people and all those different types of people in Azd and Yemen and so forth, they acknowledged, and Oman, they acknowledged them as like the original Arabs. Imagine that. Imagine that. So never get confused. And then Gabs actually made mention of this today because of one debate. Like, the Ishmaelites, for some strange reason, yeah, like, I don't know why people think this. The Ishmaelites, technically speaking, aren't actually Arabs. Technically speaking, they're not Arabs. Ishmael's mother was an Egyptian. Ishmael's wife was an Egyptian. But all of a sudden, the Ishmaelites are now Arabs. Racism's still alive, they're just conceding it. The question that you should ask your Ishmaelites or Arab brothers, yeah, is how did an Egyptian become Arab? That's what I'm going to say. How did an Egyptian become Arab? But they're going to say, Callum, you're always on Kemet, Arab, Egypt. But I'm asking simple questions, though, fam. Simple questions. It's like me as a Nigerian man, yeah, and then everybody is calling me, no, fam, you're Ghanaian. I'm like, fam, I'm Nigerian, fam. But at what point in my history did I become Ghanaian? I don't understand, fam. Man's Nigerian. Shut up. But anyways, I won't drown in on the point. I'm just going to quickly read out more of your questions. Guys, I know you want to chime in.
I want to add. You know, I definitely want to add as soon as I heard that.
Yeah.
The reason why I want to add to that as well, because it's true, because I will mention it. I don't care, I'll mention it. You know, the brother, I saw the debate at Speaker's Corner. Brother Adnan Rashid was having a debate with I think an Australian Christian. Yeah, Christian from Australia. It was quite a good discussion. But Adnan brought this up, Ishmael. And he kept saying, you know, in the Bible, he said no. He said Ishmael was in Paran. That's what he kept saying. Ishmael was in Paran. And the Australian Christian was trying to say, okay, he's in Paran, but what does that mean? Like, why does that make him an Arab? And then that's all Adnan was saying. He wasn't really getting into the meat of the bones. He weren't explaining like, okay, who is Ishmael's mother? Like, who is Ishmael's father? How it's true? How did we get to these Arabs that we have today? Because obviously, according to the Bible, yeah, Hagar, which is this is the point I was talking to you earlier. Hagar, which is Ishmael's mother, yeah, according to the Bible, she went to Egypt to find him a wife, yeah, and the Bible said the wife that she got from Egypt, yeah, for Ishmael, that's the same wife which birthed his 12 sons, yeah, and not only did they call him 12 sons, they called him 12 princes, which brought up another point that I was mentioning to you that also is that Hagar is actually the Pharaoh's daughter. Mm-hmm. And you know, because you know the story when Abraham went into Egypt, and then you know he lied and said that Sarah was his sister, and you know the Pharaoh
liar. Yeah, why was Abraham lying for, fam? No,
I don't know.
See, man was practicing. See, listen. I want my Christians, to stop saying Takia. You know, what's his name? Soko. Salute to Soko, yeah. I beg you, man, stop saying Takia. Yeah, stop saying Takia. Shout out to Takia Watch as well. Stop saying Takia when man like Abraham was practicing the biggest amount of Takia.
Yeah.
I'll catch you, Joe. Forgive me. Go ahead.
Trust me. So we know that part in the Bible when he came in, you know, and you know the Pharaoh was upset with him and told him to leave. He just basically said, "Listen, you can leave, but I'm going to give you a few things." He gave him some goats. I think he gave him a few men, and also what's not mentioned, he gave one of his daughters, which is actually Hagar. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when you read the scripture, the promise that God gave was that the covenant will be with Isaac, but for Ishmael, he would make a mighty nation and he will bear princes. Now, it says Ishmael and his wife bore 12 princes. Now, the question you got to ask yourself is, if his sons are princes, what would that make Ishmael? Mm-hmm. Because you can't just have the title of princes and your father's not royalty, or you have no royal blood. So how did he get that? Because Abraham wasn't a king. So then now we look to his mother.
This is what I'm saying, yeah. This is shit that only Gabs will now come with, fam. I don't know if you've been smoking a whole bunch of pot, bruv, yeah, but not doing out of this world in God. No. Without having a king in your family. God damn. No. Okay.
Just you.
Continue.
It's tense. You see? So these are the questions that I would have asked Brother Adnan, you know, and any other Muslim, because it still pertains to how we have these Arabs, because we have a half Semitic, half African Egyptian, which is Ishmael. His mom now goes and finds him another Egyptian. He bears 12 sons with this Egyptian wife of his, which include Kedar and I forgot all the other names, but obviously Kedar is the more prominent one, because they always say, you know, Adam was using that saying, you know, Kedar, the Prophet Muhammad's from the line of Kedar. That's what he's from. That's his lineage. But these are Africans. these Africans are African, you know? So how do we now get from Africans to these Arabs that we see now in the desert? Talk to me.
Talk to me. Message. All right, listen. Listen, we've gone over the 2-hour mark here. I want to keep on reading out some of your comments, but if I read them out, I can't actually address them. But shouts out to you guys. I know we've got sorry, let me just quickly go through. Got Aurora Dawn that's been dropping some messages. Simon James up in the building. Everything is everything. Ricky W as well. Ricardo? No. Yeah, I think so. Maybe Jesna. You said Jesna. Takia. Takia. This is important. Though. Takia Watch. Says this, which is very important. So yeah, this should be known for my Christian brothers and sisters. Takia in Christianity is viewed as a sin, while Islam view it as something blessed. Be accurate, bro. There you go. So we ain't ashamed to highlight the good stuff that you're dropping there. What do you think about the white policeman that was fired because he wanted to be seen as a black man instead of white? Gender awareness, race change, stadium. No, do you know what? That one there, I would love to actually comment on it and be controversial. Like I don't even. I know you're not gonna get at me, but I like that, man. I like that. A black man wants to be seen as white instead. Why not? Why not? If you can have a man being seen as a woman and a woman being seen as a man, why can't we have a white man that wants to be black to be seen as black? God damn. How much do we have our black men and women that trying their very best to identify themselves as white? We have our black men and women who are dyeing their hair. I'm no diss on anybody if you do these things, but how many of our black men and women are dyeing their hair blonde? How many of our black men and women are bleaching their skins light to white? How many of our black men and women are putting contacts lenses in blue eyes, green eyes, hazel eyes to seem to be fairer skin or white skin? Come on, man. Come on. I don't mind. I do not mind. I do not mind. Let it happen. But you should not say that you're a black man. You should say you're a trans black man, or trans white woman, trans black. I don't know, whatever you want to call yourselves, call it that, man. Let everybody know you're trans in the process, though. I don't have no problem with that. And same if you want to be black, if you're black and you want to be white, just call yourself a trans white person. I ain't got no problem with that. Be you, man. Be you. Be whoever you want to be. No mental illness is alive. Let me never say anymore. Okay. Yeah. Are you still on Hangouts? Yeah. Okay, cool. So family, we're gonna finish the show. Let's just round up everything. So we've basically gone through Jesus, the magician or miracle worker. We understand that magic and miracle working is exactly the same thing, depending upon what side of the fence you sit. One person's magic is another person's miracle. One person's miracle is another person's magic, right? Just like one man's treasure is another man's trash, and one man's trash is another man's treasure. How many of my women that I've trashed that you filthy dogs have treasured? I'm chatting rubbish, man. I'm just I just had something in my head about that. Anyways, so yeah, so magic, two sides of the same coin, basically. Then we went into we actually told you guys, please, if you have the opportunity, Bart D. Ehrman has written a foreword for this from Morton Smith. Jesus the magician. If you really want to find out what people know Jesus as being, a magician or a miracle worker, whichever one suits your boat is good. Magic and Christianity, Robert Connor kind of follows up on Jesus the magician's work. And again, if you actually want to see the practices of the early Christians in Egypt, if you want to see the practices and the magical works they did, miracle works that they did, please go and purchase the Christian Magical Papyri, and it's filled with great stuff in there. You can learn a lot of what's going on as well. And then afterwards, you might want to come back here on Titans TV and ask us some questions like, but Callum, Gabs, why were Christians invoking Egyptian deities as well as the Christian deity? What's going on here? What's going on? See, this is the type of Christianity that you don't know about. And this type of Christianity that we're going to start slowly but surely bringing out. Because you know what? There was a debate. Is Christianity the white man's religion? And I was like, but which Christianity are you talking about? That's the question. If we're talking about the Christianity that was introduced to the West Africans currently residing in the Caribbean, Americas, and England, then quite clearly, yes, that is the white man's religion. And what I mean by white man, let's not get it twisted, right? I don't mean Europeans. I mean the white consciousness, the white identity that was constructed to enslave others that they termed black people. Yes, they constructed a form of Christianity that was best pleasing for their nations and for those people that they were enslaving. Indeed. And they gave the black man, the enslaved Africans and the descendants of enslaved Africans, this form of Christianity that has a long history that most people don't know about. Most people don't know about Martin Luther. Most people don't know about Henry VIII and the Anglican split and all these things here. Most people don't know about that. All of the things that took place prior, they don't know. They don't know about Orthodoxy and Catholicism and so forth. They only have their brand of Christianity that was developed during the 16th and 17th century. So if you're talking about that Christianity, yeah, of course, that's the white man's religion. But let's talk about the religion or the Christianity that predated 16th, 17th century AD. Let's talk about the Christianity that was taking place in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd century in Africa. But most Christians today don't practice that African form of Christianity. No, they do practice a strain of the African form of Christianity, which I term the Salafi form of Christianity. The Orthodoxy is the Salafi form of Christianity. But let's not go there. But if we actually go into what the people was practicing and you see the African form of Christianity, you'll be screaming, oh, Kemetic Jesus. Kemetic Jesus. I have seen it. And then you'll be looking at Gabs and Kalamia as you know, your modern day messiahs out here. Or the modern days, the modern day prophets out here. Using these key terminologies, because when you go home and you research what the word prophet or the Greek word prophets, what it actually means, you'd be like, yeah, I bear witness. Gabs and Kalam are prophets. Anyways, I don't mean that in a religious sense. I mean it in what the word actually means. But anyways, what else we're gonna say? So we discussed the magic elements. And I'm telling you to go and purchase these books. Great. We've also gone into the Bible and we've seen Moses and Aaron and the Egyptians, magicians and wise men.
Elijah,
like the wise men that came and visited Jesus. You know, they were practicing a form of miracle or magic, i.e. getting frogs to jump out of the waters, i.e. dashing down rods, making them turn into snakes. And then we went on to Elijah. We saw that he was practicing, he had his own fetish that he was dashing upon the waters to split them and so forth. Interesting. We even seen that Elijah was also could also be seen as Panihisi, an Egyptian word which means the bronze one, or known as the Nubian. Very interesting, right? Very, very interesting. You know, Islam should be able to jump in right now and be like, yeah, see, the two sons of Aaron, they reside in southern Arabia. But anyways, y'all ain't ready for that. But anyways, so yeah, there's a lot going on. We've touched on a lot of magic. We've touched on a lot of African history, and there's so much more that we could speak upon. You know, we've even shown you that the Jews themselves actually saw a lot of Egyptian influence inside of the way that they view their own prophets. So, for example, Joseph was seen as Serapis, an Egyptian deity. Imagine that. Not the Egyptians claiming this, but the Jews claiming this. So this is very interesting. And the Christians claiming this as well. So this is very interesting. So we've jumped into quite a lot of things. We've had loads of discussions. And we hope to do some more shows along the same vein. And again, if you guys would like, okay, for organized, constructed classes on various topics, holler at me. Simply drop a comment down below, or if you don't see it down below inside the description box, there should be an email address for me. It should be kalam@live.co.uk. Email me. Tell me what you would like, and we can create a curriculum for you guys to learn this information, because we're just dispensing this information to you freely, and we're jumping from topic to topic, and we're just doing it c'est la vie. But if you want a proper way of learning things, come, we'll give you source books, we'll give you references, we'll give you PDFs, we'll give you everything that you need. You already know when you come here, you're going to just be bombarded with sources. We hate talking from the top of our head. The moment Gab says, hey, remember that thing in the, we go straight to the source. We remember now, we're not dealing with that. We're dealing with source material. So you can never say Gabs is a liar, Kalam is a liar. It's impossible, because you will have to prove it. And it's hard to prove that we're lying, because we're just quoting the sources. It's not our own opinion, it's what the source says. So anyways, family, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to say peace and love to you guys. We're going to do some more shows. Yeah, we're going to do some more shows, man. Hopefully, if Gab's around tomorrow, we might even drop another.
Yes, sir.
No. Next time,
yes, sir.
TV. Gabs,
Yes,
close
sir.
words.
I'd like to say peace. It's been good. Another little, medicine to dispense, because right now the world needs medicine. There's a lot of sickness out there. Corona. Is it Corona? Hashtag,
Mm-hmm.
But the medicine it needs to be given, because we've been away for a while, but now we're back. We're here. So I'd like to say peace and love to everyone in the chat. It's been great, man. We love these convos. Keep coming in. Tell a friend. Get everyone involved, and please as well, people in the chat, jump online. We love having people online to discuss with. Ask your questions and and just going through those different things. So for me, that's peace, and probably see you tomorrow.
Indeed. And remember, as I said, right, if you're talking beliefs, you're talking stuff that you do not know. And this is why it's perfect to come over here on Titans TV, where we don't talk beliefs, but we talk facts. We talk evidence-based reasoning. So if you love evidence-based reasoning, come on Titans TV, baby. If you just like beliefs, go on to whatever channel that just teaches you belief. But just realize, the moment you believe something, you should acknowledge to yourself that you're in a state of ignorance, because belief infers doubt. Doubt infers that you do not know. And to be in a state of not knowing means you're in a state of ignorance. So what I'm telling you is, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free.
And the truth
from ignorance.
shall set you free.
Blessed.
Yes, sir.